guys, here we are on August 1st,
Yep.
2017 in Dog Patch. Scotty's pulling his gear out. He's said he wants to fly the FlyBar and see what it feels like and give us honest feedback. Yeah,
Yep.
you will be the first, other than myself, to have done this. So this is very cool. I'm very excited. I'm going to ask you a few questions,
Okay.
so they know who you are. Okay. When did you first start flying?
1972.
1972. Okay, and how old were you then?
9.
9 years. You started flying at 9 years old. And let's see, you started flying, is it right, because your dad started a hang gliding company?
Yeah, in Arizona.
Air-
US hang gliders.
U.S. hang gliders.
Yep, Lucky Campbell.
Lucky Campbell.
Yep.
Your dad.
Yep.
And you worked with him in that hang gliding company.
Yep, I built my first glider in that shop.
You were a test pilot for him.
Yep.
Yeah. How old were you when you first started test flying hang gliders?
Well, I had to start test flying my own because no one was small enough to test fly them. And then after that, my first official job was at Eiper. I worked for EipperFormance Aicraft.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And, did a lot of test flying for them as well.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Who else have you worked for? Or is it
Unofficially, I test flew lots of stuff for lots of people over the years.
Okay. Okay.
But I drew a paycheck from Eiper, so.
All right. Was that Dave Kronk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Kronk, Tom Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that crew over there, Dave Mule.
Okay. So you flew their Quicksilver series.
Yeah.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most radical thing you've ever done on a Quicksilver?
Tail slid one on purpose. We built a 9+, 6.5 negative aerobatic plane. It was called the MX Super, and that was my first project with them.
Wow. You tail slid one on purpose.
Yeah. We used to tail slide it. We did.
Did you ever loop it?
Outside loop entries.
Outside loop entries.
Couldn't get it to come all the way around, but we did that. You couldn't break the thing. It was amazing.
Wow. Wow.
We had to duct tape the seat belts tight so that they didn't come on.
How old were you when you were doing this test flying for Eiper?
Oh, geez, 20s.
20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's qualified.
It should be fun.
Okay.
I got my Red Bull. I'm all ready to go.
Okay. We'll see you on top of the hill. Let's set it back here in the shade. Okay, you guys have all seen the setup procedure before, so later. Okay, I'll pull you up for a hang check. Coming up.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Using the heel to pull in with. Yep.
So, right hand approach. Probably want to pull up.
I usually do. Yeah. Yeah. And like we talked about back there, I usually hold the stirrup in my hand and drop it over a knee.
Mm-hmm.
But whichever way feels more comfortable to you. Your arms are wrapped around the base. Yeah, it's just like holding a stirrup for a cocoon.
Yeah, same thing.
It is. And I drop it over a knee, and then I use the other foot to catch it, push forward, right?
Yeah. That actually looks pretty good.
It works great. Yeah, I'm going to give you the feel of how it's going to feel when you come rolling in, Scotty. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah. Just so you get the feel of it. You're rolling in. Rolling in.
Shouldn't be too bad. Looks like I got plenty of control. Looks like I can get all the way up into this is my biggest concern is
getting into the corners. Yeah. Hey Scotty, that first FlyBar with those deep dish corners,
Mm-hmm.
this whole idea was because of you. We were partying out at my house, and you said the problem with flying feet forward is one wing gets popped up, and a pilot can't get past the bar to get into a corner to get that wing down for speed. And then I came up with that deep dish corner idea, which evolved into this. Yeah, dude, you're responsible for this.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a great observation. Okay, are we done?
Yeah,
Okay.
let me see what that feels like to pick it up.
Okay. Gotta get your, and I didn't even work on this. Hang on a second. I feel like a nervous new daddy. Okay. And this, your head's got to go through this. Let's see. There you go.
Trying to figure this out. This looks like it's okay. There we go. It's below. Okay, that's better.
All right. Yeah.
Let me pick it up.
Okay.
That feels good. That feels clean.
I know this.
Front chute's kind of awkward.
It is awkward.
That'd be nice with a side mount or a rocket
Exactly.
setup.
It is awkward.
Okay. Well, let me hop up there.
Just drive forward like you're in prone, and the whole first sequence is like you're in prone, unless these straps try to pull your legs off you. But I found if I just like lean into it. Yeah, I need to start looking around for a better harness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice cycle.
Clear?
Flying on the base tube, it looks like. Now he's getting into it. That chute's really in his face, isn't it? Huh. It's funny, I can notice it when somebody else flies it, and I never even really noticed it with myself. But he's looking comfortable. Scott is all business. He's chewing gum, thinking it all through. So if I see anything, I'll say something, but then he'll give us his input after he lands. I'm using a Garmin Verb XE camera. For some reason, none of the G-metrics data is working. The the ground speed indications, airspeed indications, vertical speed, none of it is coming up, and that's really unfortunate because I'm doing a lot more testing now of landing at different speeds. I'm doing testing of how fast I can go just pulling in with the down tubes as compared with pulling in with the FlyBar, and it's a considerable difference. The down tubes, when I pull in all the way, I can do about 37, 38, and none of that information is coming up though. So I want to get the camera working so you can see it. You don't have to take my word for it. But then when I pull in with the FlyBar, I'm doing over 50, and you need to be able to see that too. I'm also experimenting with landing at extremely fast speeds just to see if I can get into any trouble, and so far I have not. Um, I always pull forward with my feet when I'm pulling in for speed, and I also want you to be able to see how instant that is. I'll go ahead and show the tests that I did. I'll show them later on in this same video clip, but it won't have the geometric status, so the test will have to be redone. Oh, awkward moment. And that's that. I usually pull in with my feet right there, and that type of thing doesn't happen. It ends up, and he's got it. He's flying it with his feet. He says, "Oh, yeah, I get it. Look, Ma. Hey, cool." Now, I'm on top, of course, looking at all this, and he's out. He's totally comfy, but he's out of altitude. Gonna bring it in. I'm looking at this. I still don't know if he's gonna do a full flare stand-up landing or if he's gonna roll it in on the wheels. So I'm feeling like a new daddy up on top. But of course, now I've looked at the video. I know he is gonna land it on the wheels, which is sounds simple, but the first time I came in on my wheels, after doing flares and stand-up landings for 45 years, it feels totally unnatural. So I can kind of feel what he's going through right now. He's like, of course, Scott has a lot of ultralight experience. He has a lot of experience landing on wheels. So he's over the high grass. He's got the short grass. And he greased it.
Sweet. That was different.
Good on you, Scott. Okay, let's see what Scott has to say about all this craziness. All right.
Still just greased it right in. Landing was easy. The launch just squaring away everything, having the chute in my face was kind of a pain in the butt. I couldn't see down. It was a huge blind spot. So I had to feel around for the, just
With the stirrup.
Yeah, and I think since it has a different feel, your gyros are already dialed into prone.
Right.
It'd be good to fly with an airspeed indicator, so you could figure, just letting it go out with your gyros funny. You almost feel like it's stalling in a turn. You tend to fly a little fast at first.
And you've never flown this flight before.
Yeah.
So you had no feel for it.
So once I got out, once I got away from the hill and started doing some 360s and playing with it, went out straight over the lake and just kicked my heels against the bar and just let go of it, and then just started playing with it. And the thing was just hands off. I could just sit there and roll back, and it just flew good. Then I can finally, if I had a little Hall airspeed indicator on there, I wouldn't have had to make that step. You're so used to being head forward and feeling everything pulling you from the hips. Now it's pulling from the other side, so it's like there's something a little boaty about when you look out at your wingtips, they're in a different spot.
You can look straight up and see the sky.
Yeah.
It's weird. I
Yeah,
know.
it's a little different. It's like when I flew the Swift. The Swift was that way. You could sit there and stare at the trailing edge while you're flying.
Yeah, it took me 5 or 6 flights before I fell in love with it. It
Yeah.
did, honestly. The first, remember, I says, yeah, it's comfortable, but, I don't know. But then after about
It is comfy.
flight 8,
Definitely.
flight 9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to pull in for speed at all?
I didn't do a whole lot of that. I did a little bit with my heels.
Okay.
I was running out. It was such a short flight. Didn't have much time to do anything. I just wanted to do a couple of lefties, a couple of righties, get out over the lake. But yeah, my biggest obstacle was the parachute in my face. It was just a huge blind spot. I couldn't see down.
Yeah.
One of the advantages of flying seated is you got a good, you could sit there and you could
look down.
You could sit there. And,
of course, and that's a funky parachute.
The straps are
jury
funny.
rigged. Everything's jury rigged. So improvement on hooking up the chute. How would you feel about getting the reserve out in that position? Did you think that through?
Well, yeah, you could roll it right down into your lap. You could actually tug the backside back. I've flown with chest packs before in the ultralights, and you could probably just pull the back end and roll it right down into your lap and have time to look where you're going to dump it and then dump it. That is good. being that it's right in your face, you're not going to miss it.
Right, and you can get it with left or right.
Yeah, it's easy reach.
You think a ballistic shoot out the back would be better though?
That'd be way less problem.
Yeah.
You'd have a full open field of view.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as awkward. I mean, with practice, it'd probably be easier to find the stirrup. I fiddled around with it a little bit.
How did the roll control feel? Were you able to lean back and fly with the back part of the fly bars?
Roll control was immediate. It was really good. There was no problem with roll control.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Thank you, bro.
No problem. It's fun. We'll do it again.
Okay.
Maybe now that I got a little bit of experience, it'd be the next one.
Well, I'm shopping for harnesses because you're right. Right now, really the only obstacle is a very, very
If you want
ergonomic harness.
that old one I got, it's a brand new harness. It's just vintage, but you could sew and modify and move forward with that.
Take a look at it. Thanks.
Change over the buckles.
So, I guess it's time to look at other harnesses. So, friend, paragliding buddy, a gal actually, loaned me this Gin Genie race. So, never thought I'd have to do it. But yeah, I had to go on YouTube just to figure out how to get in the thing. I mean, how to, launch it. Here, 45 years of hang gliding does not exactly cross over to a paragliding harness. So, spending some time getting to know it, the way the flaps overlap. And so this one would go on first. This one would go on second, because that's the overlap. Okay. And they teach to lean forward with the paraglider so you don't slide down too far, but that's not going to work in hang gliding. We're going to launch and we're going to slough down like that immediately. So now you're all scrunched down in the bottom of it. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I'm flying along, and they say to keep your legs straight, and then the leg on the side of the overlap and keep it straight. You see, you're going to want to come in this way because of the way this overlap is. So it's like, keep it straight, bring this leg up, catch it, boop, pop it in, boom. That's the launch sequence. Okay. Whoa, 360. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna fly as many harnesses as I can get my hands on. And the next day, here I am on the hill. That was just too simple. Yeah. Diana Amon, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not even leaned back all the way yet. I'm so comfortable right now. On this flight, I did have the harness adjusted about 1.5 inches too low. So you're going to see a roll-in landing here where I kind of drag my bottom on the ground. Here it is. But it's still not bad. And I've found now I'm actually using the down tubes. I have more pitch control on a landing with the down tubes than on the back of the flybar, but it's still, there drops the tail. Scott had some more things to say about how the harness should be. So he only had a chance to fly this funky thing of mine. He didn't have a chance to fly the Gin Genie race.
What did you just say, Scotty?
Well, we need a butt plate in the harness so that it picks up your hinge point. It picks up the point that's, when you fly prone, you get a positive feel when you launch.
Right.
When you fly seated, there's a roll point. Your shoulders are here, your straps are running over the shoulders. So if you put that hinge point about 3 inches ahead of your hips,
right,
then as you launch, you start to feel it starting to tug in front of you a little bit.
Right.
It'll scoop you.
Yeah.
And then so that during your launch, you don't drop into the harness. That harness is cumbersome. It's a prototype. It's funny, but you could come up with a harness that weighs, oh geez, a quarter of what that harness weighs, and you can get the roll centers proper on it, so it gives you a positive feel during your launch run. And then you don't lose, you don't have that sloppy flopping and all that shit in front of you. And then when you take off, you don't have a billboard in front of your face. Side mounted chute, hinge point ahead of your shoulders, 3 inches ahead of your hip hinge point, that picks you up and scoops you, so you get that positive feel as you run off, so you don't drop into your harness.
Thanks.
That's the problem with seated harnesses. You always had to fall into them, and it always went doof.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And so the harness is really key. The harness, the base tube, and the fly bar will, if they're all put together and engineered together, it's going to be a real smooth transition. Anybody will be able to just hop in this thing and fly it. Hands down. It's, you got to have the three sisters.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is why I chose this guy.
So, the base tube rotated downwards, the fly bar, harness, spreader bar, wheels that actually have bushings. Yeah, it's not just the wheel. It's not just the fly bar now. It's a system. It's turned into a system, like Scotty said. I see that. Here I have my harness adjusted 1.5 inches. I have it adjusted properly, so I'm doing some roll to see. And as you see, boom, it's instant. You know, that rolled down base tube, I've got instant roll. So I am going to move forward on all of this. I appreciate. Well, look at. Oh, check this test out. Down tubes only. I'm going to pull in as far as I can. I'm probably doing about 35. Pathetic. Actually, it's not that bad. It's at 35, but of course the data was not working. Now I'm going to show you how quick it is to pull in with my feet. Whoom. And now I'm fully stuffed. Look at this. I'm doing over 50. We have real speed in Suprone now. I'm loving it, and gonna do it. You want to fly this way? Again, don't have to modify the rigging on your glider. This is an aftermarket. These are all aftermarket bolt-on. Check out this landing. I had actually dove it out of the sky. I'm actually moving. I'm bucking a 10-mile-an-hour headwind. I want to see how far I can roll and see if I can get myself in any trouble whatsoever. Have to dodge right to miss the cone, and piece of cake. It's just, yeah. I'm happy. Big shout out to Scott Campbell. Thank you so much. Can't wait until you get a chance to fly this one. Look at this, Scotty. Look at this. Now I can still see what you're saying about the hinge point. It still drops me in a little bit. Probably going to end up making our own harnesses. This is going to be fun. This really is turning into a new way to fly. Wow. It's going to be safer. You know, our most common injury in hang gliding is we swing forward and break our necks. Certainly rather swing forward and break my ankle. A PG pilot brought to my attention that this is probably more comfortable than paragliding because I don't have to hold my hands up while I fly. I'm just resting them. All right. Thanks for watching. Moving on.
Okay.
Got my Red Bull, I'm all ready to go.
Okay. We'll see you on top of the hill.
Coming to land with in a prone position, you have a light grip on the glider. You have a peripheral view of your hands. Whereas if you come into a rough terrain and you decide you're not going to land on your gear and you swing up and your hands are a little behind you on the fly bar for the flare, if you have the donuts on there like motorcycle hand grips, so you always slid up to the same spot so you're equal.
So they're equal.
And then so that even though your hands are behind you, you know where they're at. You could lighten up your grip with the fly bar skewing through your hands. You'd know where it was, and you'd start to feel it when it's at trim. You start to feel it when it's pushing back, and then you knew when to stand it up. And you wouldn't end up with that thing like you know, newer pilots are learning how to flare. They'll come in like this,
Right.
and they'll over flare one side,
And then
wing it
over they go, yeah.
So without the peripheral wiggle your fingers and loose grip, you can't do that when your hands are behind you on the flybar. But you could have an incredible amount of flare off of those if you're in a standing position, and you can feel where equal is, and you can lighten your grip without the bar skewing through your hand. That might be something.
It's a great idea. Yeah. So you actually have like a motorcycle hand grip, where you can feel where you're at the same spot
Yeah.
on both
They could
both
just
hand
be
grips.
sliding knuckles that
And
you
just
put on there wherever you prefer.
So that way you could be coming in feet first. Oh, not going to make the field. Going into the high grass, and you could just pop it and
Some
just
people
settle
got
in.
short arms. They could slide those babies up equal distance and bring them up closer than the
It's
back
a
of
great
the
idea.
bar.
Wanted to get it on film. Thanks.
Something easy, couple little UHMW
Yeah.
knuckles or something to throw in there.
Yeah. All right, man.
Then you can stand it up.